The Consumer Affairs Authority raided a sugar warehouse in Kundasala, Kandy today. Our correspondents reported that a stock of 313 metric tons of sugar was recovered during the raid. The stock of sugar seized by the Consumer Affairs Authority during a raid carried out at a warehouse in Bangalavatta in Mabolavattara recently was handed over to Satasa today. Around 4,400 metric tons of sugar was at the warehouse at the time it was sealed.
COVID-19 මේ ප්‍රශ්න සාකච්ඡා අවස්ථාවේදී ජනතාව ඉතාමත්
The COVID-19 pandemic has severely affected the public. Considering the plight of the people, the President issued this Gazette notification and vested the power. He appointed a general to oversee this process, decentralizing power. Accordingly, authorities will acquire unregistered warehouses that store stocks illegally.
උපදංචි නොවි පාරිභෝගික අධිකාරියේ ලියාපදිංචි නොවි තොග රැස් කිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඒ ස්ථානයට ගිහිල්ලා සීල් තියලා නීති මාර්ගයෙන් අපි කටයුතු කරනවා.
The President has issued an extraordinary Gazette notification declaring the storage, transport and distribution of paddy, rice, sugar and other consumer goods as an essential service. A detailed list of emergency regulations promulgated by the President under the Public Securities Ordinance was included in the Gazette notification. According to the Gazette, a person who hinders the provision of these services is committing an offence. The Gazette notification allows for an employee who does not report to work, stage protests or aid and abet to any such organised movements to be immediately removed from his position. The Commissioner General of Essential Services will act as the authorised officer in exercising the powers vested under the Gazette. The Commissioner General of Essential Services has been vested with the responsibility of implementing and coordinating all steps required to ensure the uninterrupted functioning of essential services. The Gazette notification has granted the Commissioner General the authority to appoint officers for this and states that the officers thus appointed must abide by the orders of the Commissioner General. The Superintendent of Police in charge of the area has been vested with the power to seize paddy storage facilities, rice mills and private food warehouses. In addition, if it is proved in court that these facilities were used to commit an offence, the contents could be confiscated by the government. The authorised officers could also take control of vehicles of private service providers transporting paddy, rice and other essential goods. The emergency regulations under the Gazette notification came into effect on the 30th of August. The emergency regulations will be in effect across the island. Major General Senarat Nieuwenhaller, who served as the head of the President's Security Unit, has been appointed as the Commissioner General of Essential Services.
State Minister Lasantha Lagyewana said a maximum retail price will be imposed on sugar and rice with effect from tomorrow.
ඒ අනුව නව හදිසි නීති යටතේ විශේෂම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා කොමසාරිස්වරයාට
According to the new emergency regulations, the Commissioner General of Essential Services has been vested the exclusive power to take action against those who sell these items at unfair prices and organizations violating the existing regulations. According to emergency regulations, if a customer is adversely affected by unfair prices charged in the market, the Commissioner General of Essential Services can take over such stocks and sell them to the public at a reasonable price. The Commissioner General can consider the seller's appeal and provide compensation for that.
සැලකිල්ලටගෙන ඒ අය සඳහා ලබා දිය යුතු සාධාරණ මුදලක් වන්දියක් ලබා දී.
පාන් පිටි සහ සිමෙන්ති මිල වැඩි වෙනස් සිදුවීම තියනවද?
ලෝක වෙළඳපොලේ විශේෂම
The prices of iron cable, tiles and wheat flour have increased in the world market. They have made a request from us regarding the price increase. We have informed the Cabinet of Ministers regarding this as well. The Cabinet of Ministers will decide in this regard. A decision has not yet been made.
ඒ අනුව ඉදිරියේදී ඒ සම්බන්ධ තීරණයක් ගැනීම අද වෙනකන් එහෙම තීරණයක් අරගෙන නැහැ.
Long queues can be seen at Sadasa outlets across the island these days. These outlets are operating while strictly adhering to COVID-19 health guidelines and are only calling a limited number of staff to work. Only 1 kilogram of brown sugar was issued per person today as well. The kilogram of brown sugar was sold at 130 rupees.
එකක් නෑ ඉතින් ප්‍රමාණවත් මදි. කිලෝකක් දෙන්නේ. අඩුම ගාන දෙකක්වත් දෙන්න ඕනේ.
එක කිලෝ එකයි දෙන්නේ. දැන් මට ගෙදර පිටිපස්සේ ගෙදර මිනිස්සු ඉන්න මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට නිරෝධායන එන්න කියලා කිලෝ එකක් මං ඉල්ලුවගෙන හින් දෙන්න. දෙන්න බෑලු.
මේ ඉන්න සීනි ඉතිහාසයේ පළවෙනි වතාවට මේ සීනි පොලිමේ ඉතින් සීනි කිලෝ එකක් ගන්න පුදුම කට්ටක් ගන්නනේ.
සීනි කිලෝ ගන්න බලන්න පොලිම සෑන්ඩ් අසීතාවයට පත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ අපි.
පවුලේ 7 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා 1 කිලෝ එකක් අරන් ගිහලා පුළුවන් දවස් දෙකකට ඇවිල්ලා සීනි කිලෝ දෙකක් කරා යන්න. ගමේ කඩේත් අපිට 130 තිබ්බනම් මෙච්චර මෙහා ඇවිල්ලා පොලිම වල ඉන්නේ නැහැ.
එකයි දෙන්නේ. only 1 kilogram of sugar is sold. If there are 5 members in a family, the kilo of sugar will finish within a day and a half. Do not do things like this. People are not buying sugar from Satosa to distill moonshine. Please increase the maximum amount of sugar that a consumer can purchase to 3 kilos. Ministers can sit in air-conditioned rooms and say whatever they want. If the Satosa outlet is in the town, distribute the sugar from the Satosa outlet to the small markets in the village. Then sugar can be sold for 130 rupees at Satosa as well as the shops in the village. The Samagi Jana Balavege has called on the government to lift the emergency regulations and enforce the provisions of the Disaster Management Act. Issuing a statement, the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balavege, Ranjit Madhum Bandara, points out that the government's mismanagement and inefficiency needs to be blamed, and there is no necessity to enforce emergency regulations for that purpose. The SJB notes that declaring an emergency under the Public Securities Ordinance highlights a threat to public security rather than a threat posed by a pandemic. It added that given this backdrop, it is clear that an emergency situation has not been declared properly, and the said announcement has been made with the intention of restricting the fundamental rights of the people and to further move towards dictatorship. The SJB says it's been 18 months since the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic, and the President is yet to make an announcement declaring a disaster situation as per the provisions of the Disaster Management Act. It added that the President had also failed to install the National Council for Disaster Management as the lead agency on disaster risk management in the country. It is the government that is responsible for fluctuating tax prices. Importers and exporters suffered massively due to those ad hoc changes made to taxes, and it was the close allies of this government who reaped massive benefits and profits from these. And the economy suffered a big blow because the government tried to shape the dollar parallel to the rise of the dollar against the rupee. The imports network in the country was completely in chaos due to the actions of the government. Now the government has to rectify their mistake.